Jin BTS vanished after performing only one song with Coldplay, and fans were quick to notice Coldplay's reaction. What really happened backstage that night, and why did Chris Martin go completely silent after Jin left? Why did Chris Martin go completely silent after Jin left the stage? Why did Coldplay's crew look visibly shaken behind the scenes? And what happened in the few minutes after Jin BTS disappeared that fans weren't supposed to see? It was supposed to be a night of magic. And for a brief moment, it was Jin, the eldest member of BTS, made a surprise appearance during Coldplay's concert in Seoul. The crowd erupted in disbelief when the astronaut began to play and Jin stepped into the light, his face soft with emotion, his voice steady but full of restraint. It was his first live performance since beginning his military enlistment, and it felt like a miracle. A dream come true. A reunion, but just as quickly as he arrived, he vanished. One song. One bow. One blink, and he was gone. He didn't return for the encore. He didn't walk back out with the band. And most strangely, Coldplay didn't mention him again. And oh shout dash out. And oh farewell. And oh thank you to the artist who had just shaken the stadium. The silence was deafening. Fans in the arena immediately noticed the shift in energy. Chris Martin, who had been glowing moments earlier, suddenly looked reserved. During the final set, he smiled, but it felt distant. His usual closing speech, uplifting, personal, filled with gratitude, was shorter. Colder, something had changed, and backstage, the mystery only deepened. A now-deleted Instagram story from a staff member working Coldplay's production team showed a blurry moment backstage. Jin walking briskly past a row of curtains, a black hoodie thrown over his performance outfit. A stagehand tried to approach him, but a military escort gently but firmly redirected Jin toward a waiting van. Seconds later, Chris Martin is seen staring down the hallway where Jin had just exited. He's still holding a guitar. He doesn't smile, he turns and walks away without a word. That 8-second clip went viral before being pulled, but the damage was done. What did Chris Martin know? Why did he look disappointed? Was Jin's exit planned? Or did something go wrong? Armies across the globe demanded answers. Was this a last-minute decision? Had the military cut his time short unexpectedly? Or, more chillingly, was Jin not supposed to perform at all? Theories spiraled. Some fans speculated that Jin was granted only a precise time slot by military authorities. One song, no lingering, no encore, and absolutely no public interaction. If true, even Chris Martin may have been caught off guard by how strictly the rules were enforced. Others believe Coldplay knew it was a one-shot deal all along, but were hoping for more. That's why Chris's expression afterward wasn't just solemn. It was frustrated. It wasn't just an emotional goodbye. It was a cut-short connection. One tweet with over 200,000 likes reads, "Chris Martin looked like he lost a brother." Jin vanished, and it felt like the whole mood collapsed. Even music journalists picked up on the tension. One review from a Korean entertainment site wrote, "Coldplay is known for their exuberant finales, but tonight's encore felt like a quiet wound. It was as if something or someone was missing." Then came the biggest twist. A Japanese journalist, present backstage as a foreign press observer, reported a hushed conversation between Coldplay's tour manager and venue staff, allegedly caught through a cracked door. "We only had him for 12 minutes. They wouldn't allow even a full set. He wanted to come back out, but they said no." The statement has not been verified, but it immediately spread like wildfire. If true, it meant Jin wanted to return. He planned to say goodbye, but was stopped, and Coldplay's silence, possibly their silent protest, possibly their respect, or possibly their heartbreak, adding more layers to the mystery. Fans noticed that Coldplay did something strange after Jin left. During the final bow, Chris Martin wore a black armband, something he hadn't worn at the start of the show. No statement was made. No symbolism was explained. Some say it was a tribute to Jin's brief, burning appearance. Others believe it was Coldplay's way of acknowledging the emotional cost of having to say goodbye too soon. Still, HYB said nothing. And photos of Jin backstage, and documentation of the collaboration, and press release explaining the logistics. In an industry where everything is usually micromanaged and monetized, Jin's performance stood out not just for its emotional weight, but for how incomplete it felt, like something had been interrupted, and fans weren't alone in that feeling. A fan-captured video shows Chris Martin backstage after the concert. He's holding a small item, reportedly the microphone Jin used. He kisses it softly, places it in a case, and whispers, "For when he returns." That single moment has been re-edited, subtitled, and shared millions of times. Because it wasn't just a technical farewell. It was a spiritual one. Jin didn't just disappear from stage, he disappeared from something bigger, and Coldplay's visible grief, quiet, respectful, restrained, only confirmed what ARMYs already knew. This wasn't a normal performance. This was a goodbye nobody wanted to give. And now, as Jin continues his military service, fans are left clinging not to what he said, but what he couldn't. And they look to Coldplay, who said nothing at all, yet may have said everything in their silence. Music insiders, cultural critics, and even Coldplay's own longtime followers began whispering the same thing. Something happened backstage. Something no one is allowed to talk about. And Chris Martin's face said it all. Did I end an industry where final bows are moments of gratitude and joy? His bow that night looked like grief. It wasn't until later that more pieces of the puzzle began falling into place. A Coldplay crew member, posting anonymously on a closed Discord server for concert technicians, revealed a cryptic message. There was a plan. Then there wasn't. He wanted to sing twice. Someone said no. That line, he wanted to sing twice, set off a viral storm. What song would he have performed? Was it Moon? Was it a BTS track? Or perhaps a new message entirely, one meant to bridge the divide between his military silence and the fans who never stopped waiting? No one knows. And that's what makes it worse. The performance now feels incomplete, not because of Jin's delivery, but because of what was taken from him. More alarming still, fan-captured footage from the upper level shows Chris Martin glancing toward the side stage repeatedly during the encore, as if waiting for someone. Hoping. Searching. But no one came. The seat where Jin had waited earlier? Empty. The mic stand? Gone. And then came the most controversial moment of all. And the final minute of Coldplay's last song. Chris stepped aside and let the crowd sing. That's normal for him. But what wasn't normal was that he faced the back of the stage, toward the curtain where Jin had exited. He stayed there, eyes locked on the shadows, mouthing words that weren't picked up by the mic. Was he speaking to Jin? Was he angry? Grieving? Saying goodbye? One lip-reading specialist, hired by a fan channel with 2 M+ subscribers, claimed Chris said, "You deserved more than one song." The clip went viral in hours. People didn't just want answers, they wanted justice. Thousands of fans began tagging HYB, the South Korean Ministry of National Defense, and even Coldplay themselves with a new hashtag. Hashtag Let Jin Sing. It wasn't just a request, it was a demand. Not for a concert, for closure. Because something about the way Jin left didn't feel right. And the way Coldplay reacted only confirmed it. The silence became its own form of protest. Coldplay never uploaded any clips of Jin's performance to their official pages. No stories. No tweets. Nothing. But they did change one thing. That on their official tour website, under the sole date where Jin appeared, they added one line, hidden beneath the fold, written in small, grayed-out font. "Thank you to our silent star." Fans found it, and they wept, because they understood. Jin didn't just vanish from a stage, he vanished from a space that wanted him to stay longer, and Chris Martin couldn't stop it. Later that week, during Coldplay's next concert in another country, Chris made a rare break from his usual setlist. He played a solo piano rendition of The Scientist, a song about regret, time, and second chances, and just before the final chorus, he looked up and whispered into the mic. For someone who couldn't finish what he started. The stadium exploded with screams. People knew he was talking about Jin. What followed next was a wave of global mourning unlike anything seen for a single song appearance. Not because Jin had passed, but because it felt like something was stolen, not only from the fans, but from the artist himself. Jin wasn't performing as a soldier. He was performing as a man who still had something to say, and someone made sure he couldn't say it.